All right, YouTube. Donald Trump and Elizabeth Warren have been sparring on Twitter for days now. It's like a never-ending struggle between someone who's perceived as sexist and someone who's honestly perceived as a little bit nutso. That would be Elizabeth Warren. She's given her tacit support to like Bernie Sanders policies without actually endorsing anybody. I think she believes, and she might be right in this, that her endorsement would actually be a net negative for Sanders if she did. You'll remember Elizabeth Warren as the woman who ranted about her native ancestry before realizing that she didn't have native ancestry, of course. Then claimed that it was just, something that her family had talked about or something to that effect. So now Trump is calling her Pocahontas. Which is funny, as I think you could think of a better term than Pocahontas. Pocahontas was actually a Native American. Elizabeth Warren's not, and tried to use that as sort of a get-out-of-scandal-free card or something. There's a tendency, progressives really, they don't really care about minorities. Elizabeth Warren doesn't care about like Hispanics or Native Americans or anything. She sees them as piggy banks. We've seen this before. She's a fucking politician. The fact that she happens to be female and breathing doesn't mean necessarily she gives a fuck about anybody but herself. The same is true about basically everyone within politics, which is why I think Trump will win, because he hasn't been in politics. He may operate on the same principle, but people won't perceive it the same way. Watching them, though, fight over Twitter is funny. See, there are two things that people have tried to do lately. Number one, they've tried to give nicknames to Donald Trump. And number two, they've tried attacking him on social media. Neither of them works, quite clearly. He's the one who opened the can of worms on frequently and quite early on insulting others by giving them nicknames. Low Energy Jeb, Crooked Hillary, Little Marco, Lion Ted, and so forth. He's got such a dominating, obvious association with the concept of nicknaming others. And he's also got an association with being a lowbrow blowhard to his critics. So when somebody else attempts to do the same to him, they get all of the negative flack that comes from being associated with that without the net positive, because what does the media and what do even their own fans say? You shouldn't stoop to his level. You're no better than him now. And so, like Trump, he doesn't worry about losing any of his fans for calling somebody a nickname, whether it's boring, old, low energy, fucked up, whatever, crazy Bernie. It doesn't matter really what he does. I mean, I'm sure he thinks about it for a while beforehand before actually doing this. It is a strategy. It's not just completely off the cuff, let's face it. Nobody is, I think, thinks that at this point. They realize this is part of his strategy. But he's already cornered the market on giving people nicknames. He's also cornered the market on attacking others on social media. Anytime somebody does this now, he'll draw them into a deeper conversation and destroy them in that manner. Elizabeth Warren is not doing herself any favors by attacking Donald Trump. She's sort of trying to be the, I guess, junkyard dog to Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton's largely on message sort of campaigns. Hillary has reached out to attack Trump a few times. Mostly, though, she's still talking about, I'll do this for women, I'll do this for children, groups of people that she actually hates because she hates everyone who's not named Hillary Clinton. Bernie Sanders is completely clueless and his campaign is mostly failed at this point, but he stays on message at least. He's not really willing to do the attacks. He may talk a big game about we will beat Trump. We're going to go campaign to the end, but at the end of the day, is he likely to be nominated? No. So they have Elizabeth Warren, I guess, as this sort of neutral puppet for the two of them to go after Trump. The problem is it's now spectacularly failed. Now she has a nickname too, which means Trump would not have given her a nickname if he didn't think that there was a compelling reason to actually bother rebuffing her. If it was just some random critic from the Senate or the House that nobody really gave a fuck about, he'd just ignore him. He wouldn't even respond. With Warren, he gets into this big, long back and forth on Twitter, then gives her a nickname. Obviously, he expects her to be at the forefront of the campaign on the Democratic side. Pretty good reason to believe that would be the case. It's like you look at the field of people during the campaign. Who did he attack and then try to give a nasty nickname to? Jeb, who was the front runner right before Trump got in. He had to smash him down. Cruz, who was like the number 2 candidate through most of the campaign. Rubio, who shared that for a few months. Did he ever give Chris Christie a nickname? Did he ever give Ben Carson a nickname? No. He left alone people that he was interested in later absorbing by making his opponents lash out at everybody else on the stage, while he, treats someone like Carson largely with respect. He either wanted to absorb them, or he didn't think they were significant enough, like Carly Fiorina. He never felt that she was a threat. He realized she was a flash in the pan, was going to go back down, had a 0% chance of being nominated. No reason to give her a nickname. He could have called her Inept Carly or something like that, and it would have been true. As far as using the Pocahontas label, effective in the sense that it reminds people now, anytime they see this, they're going to be reminded that Warren lied about having Native ancestry. That's the strategy. Probably the most simplistic term to use. It's not going to endear him towards like the Native American voters in the country necessarily. Although, a lot of those Native Americans probably already fucking hate Warren for trying to lie about having ancestry that links her to their culture or something. So I guess it's not really a negative with that voting bloc. With everyone else, it directly associates Elizabeth Warren. Anytime she speaks, anything she says, it puts that scandal, which is what it was, back in people's minds, fresh and anew. A good strategy. You could think for a while and probably find some other terms that would apply. He can't use Lion Warren or something like that. He already used that, made it Lion Ted. So he can't use the liar thing. He's already used low energy liar. Now, robotic little Marco, but essentially Chris Christie helped christen him Marco Roboto as well. That was actually like Christie's shining moment. He obviously has some skills with this as well. I think he was chuckling to himself after that debate and already shaking hands with Trump, fully realizing, yeah, I may be screwed, but I probably just fucked Marco Rubio up the ass too. Trump's going to want me on his campaign team for that one. I think that was probably Christie's idea more than Trump's. In retrospect, at the time I said Trump may have already approached him and like drafted him and said, hey, I don't want to go after Marco tonight. I got to focus on Ted. You attack him for a change and then get on my campaign team a while later. In retrospect, though, as I said, I think maybe Christie decided, Trump hadn't attacked him. There was a reason for that, obviously. Perhaps he'd get an endorsement down the road, get put in a cabinet position. He hedged his bets and he said, okay, that sounds like a good thing. I'll go wipe out Rubio for him. And he did it effectively, which is astonishing. I never would have thought Christie would be capable of that. Honestly, it raises my estimation, at least of his intelligence, if not necessarily his character. The nicknaming your political opponents thing has worked well 100% of the time for Trump already. There's no reason to believe that this won't very quickly diminish Elizabeth Warren's capability to really do anything to stand in his way. And think about it. When you think about major Democrats, as in major names within the Democratic Party who can sort of act as a standard bearer, a proxy whose endorsement really matters or something, what are the names you're thinking of? Obama, he's an outgoing president. He can't do much for anyone who's running. He doesn't have the popularity. Joe Biden, who's basically sitting this one out. Then you've got the two candidates themselves, Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, who appear not to even like each other, so they're not going to do each other more than a few favors, regardless of who's nominated. Elizabeth Warren is oddly enough, probably the highest named individual on that list of Democrats that don't have something bigger to do right now that can get drawn into the fray and aren't associated directly with Obama's policies, the more unpopular ones. You'd think of, fucking Feinstein or Harry Reid or Nancy Pelosi or something. Yeah, maybe big name, but not well liked. Elizabeth Warren would be kind of that person you'd want to go to play attack dog. The problem is Trump appears to have just bashed her over the head, and now the attack dog is wandering around in circles, staggering and drooling like it's got rabies. I can't imagine that she's going to be able to weather that for very long and maintain that presence without a lot of people bringing a great deal of negativity towards her. You got to realize Trump has millions of fans online. They're going to attack her. They're going to satirize and mock her. And she doesn't have enough hardcore fans necessarily to sort of turn the tide and defend herself effectively against what will amount to an army of shitposters. That's the other thing, the decentralization of politics, crowd participation, if you will, that a single well-worded tweet or a single well-made cartoon or blog post or comment on a news site can change thousands or tens of thousands of minds almost instantly if it goes viral. In this age, you have to dominate the online world. You have to drive the attention, and you have to be able to control to some degree that attention. Trump's able to do that. Nobody else appears to have caught up. Hillary tried. Hillary had some tweet out where she quoted Trump on women, and it was something to the effect of, if you work as hard as a man, you'll be paid the same. And people were astonished because it actually looked like a pro-Trump image that Hillary Clinton herself had just tweeted out. Whatever advisor told her, yeah, this is a good idea, we'll put this out on your Twitter handle, I hope they were canned, because that's probably the most pro-Trump thing that I've seen, and it doesn't even come from Trump's own campaign. It comes from his primary competitor. I mean, it's insane to think that somebody's campaign can be so stuck in the 1990s as Hillary Clinton's. She's stuck in the, hey, I'm cool, I'm still relevant, I'm like you teenagers who, yeah, you want to smoke pot and don't like war. Lol, OMG. And it just comes off as an old woman really pretending, really scraping the bottom of the barrel. Trump's out there, though, he's fully in tune with the modern sort of trolling ethos of the modern online community. You know, whether you like him or not, he clearly is. He sort of represents the prevailing attitude online, which is fuck you, shithead, poo-poo pee-pee, and stuff like that. That's, let's face it, that's essentially what the internet has devolved into. There's plenty of intelligent discourse, but it's not friendly discourse. It's not the same as like it's not like a group of academics sitting on mahogany chairs discussing something for a few hours. It's more like a pitchfork and torch waving crowd and another pitchfork and torch waving crowd blazing one another until there's only one side left standing. And in that sort of arena, which encompasses most people, let's say at least, you know, in their early 40s and younger, where they're getting a lot of their news from, Trump completely owns it. There's a reason that he can get away with murder, almost literally, and still survive that during the primaries. There's a reason that he is about even with Clinton. And I pointed out before, this is the most important thing to consider. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, an independent, it doesn't matter. Here's the one thing that you need to consider, aside from the fact that third-party affiliation is skyrocketing. I love that, by the way. I'm a libertarian. Trump is supposedly, he has been branded by lots of people within the media, within politics, even opposed by some members of his own party, as a racist, sexist, xenophobic, genocidal bully who doesn't know what he's talking about, has no experience, would do terrible things, and probably start an atomic war. And he is about even with a former First Lady of the United States. Think about that good, long, and hard. Nothing more needs to be said. Sit down and ponder that for a couple of minutes. And then you will come to the conclusion that Clinton is way out of her league. She doesn't even understand how to defend herself against Trump. That's why I predict Trump will win the election. That's about all. Peace out.